Right now, we're joined by Mr. Josiah Johnson. Find him on Twitter and IG at King Josiah 54. My man, how you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Appreciate y'all having me on.
No problem, man. Listen, man, like I was telling you off the air, we are very proud of what you've been able to do and accomplish, man. You are a trendsetter in this social media genre for myself and Danny Blanco and many others, man. We're just trying to follow in your footsteps and fuck off 9 to 5, get paid on doing some social media tweets and building our own content and get paid for building our own content. So you are a proud trendsetter, and we thank you very much.
No, I appreciate y'all, and I gotta definitely show love to Deezus Amaro, Dragonfly Jones, Jethro Jenkins, and everybody else out there who's showing us all how to get these bags. Really, like you said, Twitter doing all these things. Who would have known we could have made careers out of these things, and we could quit our regular jobs and be out here getting these bags and getting our flares out.
Exactly. And as always, I'm joined by a great friend of mine, Mr. Denny Blanco. Find him on Twitter and IG at Sir Denny Blanco. Find me, Rainy J Cruz, Rendy, the letter J Cruz on both IG and Twitter. So let's get right to it, man. People are calling you or have been calling you the king of NBA Twitter. So that's where I'm starting right now. So
off the top.
Many fans. I've seen LA Times article, New York Times article. When people call you the king of Twitter or NBA Twitter, that has to be kind of a humbling kind of feeling, or are you more like, you're damn right I am?
Nah, man, I try to be as humble as possible, so I always appreciate that stuff. It's funny, man. Like I literally named my account King Josiah 54. I'm a big LeBron fan. He's King James, obviously the King James Bible. There's Josiah in the Bible as well, who's also a king. So it's weird to me when people call me that. Like I don't ever. I'm the type, man, I don't really believe the hype or drink the Kool-Aid. I just like to work every day, keep grinding. Definitely appreciate all the love I've been able to get out of it and all the people that have kind of jumped on with the movement and definitely all the opportunities that have come from it. So I'm super thankful on that side, but I just try to be as humble as possible. Like you'll never hear me refer to myself as the king or anything like that. It always throws me off too. People are like, what's up, King? I'm just like, I kind of joke. That's how I know people who really know me versus who don't, like how they refer to me, because really I'm just Josiah.
Yeah. Denny?
I read a couple of articles. I've been following you for a period of time, so I'm just super excited that you're on. One question I have is, that moment in time where that first tweet went viral.
Yeah.
And, obviously there were a couple of moments after that, but I want you to take us into the moment where you said, all right, I can't work anymore. I want to do this going forward. What was that moment?
So, man, I got on Twitter. I'm trying to think. Like, I had an account since like 2014, 2015. I was doing a show on Comedy Central called Legends of Chamberlain Heights. But I hated social media at that point, man. I didn't really want to use it. I thought it was just a waste of time. I didn't really see, other than trying to like promote the show, promote myself, what the lane was or what the value would be. And I just didn't want to be one of those people that just sat on Twitter all day and, let that thing kind of take over and control my life. But it's funny. So Legend of Chamberlain Heights, I was doing the show. I started doing social media for that show, running the show account. And then kind of started to really get a love for it, did a bunch of research, looked at how other shows moved out there, shows like Insecure, Game of Thrones, things like that. And basically really the communities that they built around the shows. So the whole time I was doing that, my wife was in my ear like, yo, this show's not going to be on forever. You need to do some stuff for yourself. Stop doing all this stuff for them. They weren't even really paying me, to be honest with you. So I kind of treat that like grad school. I was kind of getting my PhD in social media. Wasn't really getting paid to do all that stuff, but just was hitting it hard every single day. In addition to all the other stuff I had to do for the show, I was a creator on there, a writer, producer, did a couple of voices. So every time we'd be in a meeting, a production meeting, whatever, I'd be in the VO booth sometime recording my lines, and I'm just hitting social media as much as I can, whatever was trending, whatever was topical, whatever way I could find to help infuse the show into the conversation. Just doing all that. Show gets canceled. I go through kind of a down period in life, not really working, doing stuff I wasn't really, in love with, but I needed a paycheck. So I kind of took her advice then, started really hitting it. And then the one that really, I'm sure I have some stuff that went viral before this, but the one that really did it for me, I want to say was like 2019, Antonio Brown kind of, obviously was always in the news for doing everything, most recently pulling his dick out and all that other type of shit. But he had bounced from like, he had bounced from like 2 or 3 different teams. Like he was on the Raiders for a couple of weeks, then went over to the Patriots. Yeah. So I did a meme, took a clip from Get Out, which was like the scene at the party where Daniel Kaluuya's character sees Lakeith Stanfield's character who's already in the sunken place. And Josh Gordon was on the Patriots at that time. So I'm a big Josh Gordon fan, love him. And did a meme of that interaction where he kind of goes to give him the handshake. and then he puts his hand over, and he was basically in the sunken place already. And basically for me, that was representative of just Bill Belichick, the Patriot way. Basically, when dudes come over there, whoever, maybe Randy Moss, whoever, no more BS. They got to just kind of lock in. So I ended up putting that up. Didn't really think much about it. Then it slowly but surely just started going viral and started doing more numbers and more numbers and more numbers. Eventually, Jordan Peele saw it. Jordan Peele quote tweeted it, showed me some love, ended up following me. I sent him a DM. We had both had shows on Comedy Central, so just kind of to thank him for helping blaze the trail, lay the foundation for me to be able to follow in Key and Peele's footsteps and be able to have a show on there as a black man in America. But from that point, and I was working a job, and I would make these videos because I could edit them super quick on my computer, but I'd have to like turn my laptop to the side so nobody could see what I was doing. We'd edit these things, drop the video, put it on the Twitter, and I would go sit in the bathroom. I'd sit like in the last stall in the bathroom, and I'm sure people I work with thought I had like irritable bowels or something because I would just be in there, but I'd be in there pants all the way up, like just sitting there staring at the computer, refreshing the screen and just watching the numbers grow up. So at that point, I kind of got a sense that there was a world or a lane for it. Wasn't really making no money doing it at that point, but started to see the following grow. And then from that, more opportunities started to happen. So from that point to now, 3 years later, and it's funny, man, I look back at that time, and this is kind of why I don't take, I'm so humble, don't take anything serious on social. I was doing a lot of like voiceover videos, other shit, just trying to put content out there. I didn't really know what I was doing. Some of the stuff would perform well. Other times I would get packed up just mercilessly, and we didn't have quote tweets back then where you could actually click it on Twitter and see what was going on. So you kind of had to monitor it on your feed. But I go back and look at that stuff now, just crack up, because a lot of the same people used to pack me up and oh, it's the worst shit ever and kill yourself. I hope you get cancer or whatever, are the same people now like, oh man, we love your shit, and like, kind of following that same trend. So that's the advice I give to everybody who tries to get into this space. Is like, look, it's going to be a little tough and rocky at first as your following starts to expand. Initially, it's friends and family, people who like you, people who want to engage with you. As your shit starts to grow, then you start getting some of the trolls, the bots, some of those outside accounts that obviously don't rock with you, just want to see you, suffer and want to clown and want to pack you up. Like, but just, take it all in stride. And, there's a lot, like NBA dudes deal with a lot of mental health issues, which they've been very transparent and open about. But it's a lot of mental health side on the social side as well. I mean, I know you put up a lot of heat, and maybe sometimes it's not your best heat, but, and people are going to come at you, and sometimes that shit will bother you and it'll wear on you. Like, damn, I want to keep doing this. And I know I can speak for myself. It's like, yeah, you just look past all that shit. And now I've gotten to a point where I've done it enough, and this is years down the road, where I generally know, all right, I'm going to keep this in the drafts because I know if I put that out, it's not going to get the result I want. And really just kind of focus on putting the stuff that I think is putting my best foot forward.
To pass it, before I pass it back to Randy, you make a great point when you say, you actually, these brands are looking for guys like you who can come in, speak the language, and actually, build a community around a particular show, around a particular topic, etc. That is an actual talent that people are getting paid for. So you make a very, very good point, and Randy, that's a great point. You want to get paid for your talent, don't you, Randy?
Of course, don't we all?
Hey, that man.
Exactly.
But to your point, it's crazy to see now, especially like my background's TV production, sports entertainment. So I worked NFL Network, Showtime, Fox Sports, all that side in TV versus social and digital. And a lot of people come to social and digital with the TV mentality. And it's like, it's not TV. You can just buy commercials and, hey, what's the big game? Monday Night Football game. We're going to run our commercial here and get the most eyeballs on it. It's like the Wild Wild West. There's so much different shit going on. So many different things you got to be cognizant of. So if you can really speak to the culture, the community, and really plug in and take content and make it do numbers and make it get high engagement levels, it's an art form. You see a lot people doing branded posts, sponsor posts, and the shit don't really perform well for a multitude of reasons. Captions off, messaging's off, content's off, or whatever. So I definitely think it's an art form and a skill nowadays. And brands are starting to take notice of it because these brands have social teams and crews and all these type of things that they have, that they're on staff and on salary to help pump and promote this stuff. Right. But ultimately, they come to us because they know we can really touch the culture. We really know what people want, what's going to resonate with them, and really how to run those numbers up.
I think for me, we all can agree that even Denny, you've gone viral a couple times. Josiah, shitload of times. Me, halfway a load of times. But it's like, reading, articles about you, it's like you mentioned going viral could be a drug. Going viral could be that high. Like, hey, man, like if I can go viral one time, I'm like, can I do it again? What else can I go in my head in my creative basket to do it again? So when it happened to you with the get out tweet, is it more like, wow, that was cool, man, that's great, I'm done, or it's like, damn, what else can I do? What's my next hit? Is that what went through your mind?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, definitely like a dope fiend. You start chasing that fix because let's be honest, social media is a lot about validation, and there's a gratification that comes from that. Like, oh, something I was thinking, or this thing that I put together, this thing that I created, is out here hitting, is doing numbers, and look at all the people who love it, and look at all celebrities and all these other people. And for me, it's like, damn, if I'm getting a DM from Jordan Peele off this one, I'm gonna keep doing this shit because who else can I get some DMs from? Who else can I get some follows from? Who else can I get to really start supporting it? And it's good and bad, right? It's good because it'll kind of make you want to grind, want to make you still go out there doing it. But then it gets bad too when it's like you start chasing that fix, right? And you see it with dope fiends, right? The first couple times you hit it, you good to go, still working your job, whatever. Then you start chasing that shit. Next thing you know, you like Pookie in New Jack City, trying to rob people, whatever, trying to still go get it. So it's a part of the learning process. And the one thing I love about social media is like you can find out pretty instantaneously if people are fucking with it or if they hate it, right? And if they don't like it, they're gonna let you know about it. If they like it, they're gonna let you know about it. So I always try to really how I strategize now. And it's funny, man, now like social media, it's only been around really for like 15, 20 years. When you think about the instant messenger days and kind of the lower level websites and stuff back when it first started to now TikToks, Instagrams, Twitters, all that type of stuff. So there's not really any playbook for it or any methodology to it, right? You got to just learn from going out there and doing it. There's not, it's not like other crafts where you've got hundreds of years of experience and this is the appropriate way to do it. Social is very, especially social media, it's exactly that. It's social, right? So whatever's going on in the world. So we might look at our phones right now, see some shit just happened with the Knicks or the Lakers or big trade or whatever. And it's unpredictable. Sometimes you can predict, kind of forecast what's going to go on. Like I know the Lakers and Warriors are going to play each other to start the season. So there's going to be some jokes flying, right? There's going to be jokes flying if the Warriors win. Going to be jokes flying if the Lakers win. Steph has a good game. Steph has a bad game. Bron has a good game. Westbrook, AD, whatever. But you don't know until you're actually in that moment and those things start taking shape. So for me, I just try to be as ready as possible. And really my social page is kind of just a reflection of what I'm doing in my life. Like if I turn the TV on, I might be watching Serena Williams at the US Open. I'm gonna talk about that. I might be watching Aaron Judd try to pass Roger Maris randomly. And I'm not the biggest baseball fan, but if I'm watching that game, whatever's going on in those moments that people are talking about, that's the shit I'm going to discuss. I don't really, when I was younger, would try to chase stuff and be stuff I wasn't even really watching, but everybody's talking about it. So let me try and get a joke in here or there. But now I just want it to really be a reflection. So, more times than not, when you look at my account, I'm literally on the couch watching whatever that thing is. Monday Night Football, Thursday Night Football, NBA games, preseason. We saw Scoot versus Vic. I don't even know how to pronounce his last name last night, but just women, whatever his name, what I mean? But it was like, whatever's going on and people are talking about and stuff that I'm interested in, which is obviously basketball, pop culture, politics, things like that. That's the stuff I'm going to talk about. I don't really try to get into social media communities that I'm not a part of.
So I got two before Denny Rock. So when you mentioned that, the chase earlier, listen, I'm not going to lie. Like I feel like I'm AI, a high volume shooter. I'm taking 30 shots. I might make 8. But I'm still jacking them up. Where if I get the one viral going out and it's like, damn, all right, can I do one tomorrow? Then the next 8 tweets are crickets. Then the next viral goes, it's like, yo, I'm AI out here. You just never know. Like you said, you never know who's fucking with you or who wants to fuck with you.
No, you never know who's going to pay attention, who's not going to pay attention. At the same time, too, I think what I'm interested in is the confidence in you throwing out the joke. So, for example, the get out, the reference, right? People have to know.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? It's not like you can just throw out a joke and people are just like not gonna. People have to gravitate towards the joke. So every time I see a meme and I'm correlating exactly where he's going, I'm just like, the past couple of memes you put out, and I'm just like, that's witty. So is that natural wit? Is that a wit that's you've always been witty, since childhood? Where's that wit come from?
Really, I think just from sports, man. Like, I came up playing basketball. My dad played in the league. My older brother, played overseas and won a national championship at UCLA. And myself, just growing up, being in basketball circles, being in locker rooms, like as you guys know, like locker room is you really gonna make or break yourself, right? Everybody's clowning. It could be an outfit, a haircut, your breath might not be up to par, whatever it is. You got to be able to hold your own in those situations to get the jokes off. So I've always been, I want to say class clown, but lighter side, you know, always took the schoolwork and all that stuff serious, but could crack jokes and just have a good time, keep the mood light. So yeah, I think a lot of that is reflective. And it's also crazy, man. I spent so much of my younger life just consuming content, watching TV shows, watching movies, listening to music, doing all these things that I didn't think, you know, it had value in the moment, right? It was entertainment. But now looking back, being able to recall a clip from 15, 20 years ago and really just the nostalgia of it, you know, but just like when we were coming up, like, you know, we had like shows like The Simpsons or The Wire or whatever. Martin. And it wasn't really, you know, Martin, you know, Living Color, like all those type of things. We didn't have a real vehicle or outlet other than to like go to school the next day and see what resonated with everybody, right? Like, what was it? Oh, yeah. Oh, you know, Dragonfly Jones or fucking Jerome in the House or whatever, Shanae. And those would be the things like, oh, man, you see that? Yeah. And, you know, we'd be talking, we'd be quoting, and we'd be doing all those stuff. So that's kind of what the social thing is reflective now. Is really like the nostalgia. I'm 40 years old, and I'm proud to be washed. I'm happy to be in the age I'm at. I mean, it's like, you know, but the young kids like, oh, you washed, you old, you this, you that. It's like, yeah, but I don't got no bills. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't got no student loan debt. Like, there's a lot of other shit that I'm not here trying to clown y'all about. And like, you know, if you do have those things, like, I hope you figure them out, more power to you. But at the end of the day, I try to tweet for people who are in my age range. So it's a lot of times, especially with the younger kids, they'll see shit I put up and they don't remember it because they're too young. Like they don't know what that thing is. They don't know how that made us feel when we saw it. So they don't really relate to it. I think they get kind of mad and frustrated. Yeah. Like, oh, this shit is corny. This shit is whack. Yeah. I don't even know what this shit is. And like for me, I always say, like, I'll never post a SpongeBob meme. That's not my era. I didn't watch no SpongeBob. I was too old for that. But I'm not gonna sit there and tell them like, oh, why the fuck you posted SpongeBob memes? I don't get this. So exactly. It's not funny to me. You know what I mean? So I kind of just let to each their own and like let everybody have their lane and cook in it. But for me, if you age 30 to 50, you're going to really resonate with a lot of the tweets and the content that I put up because it's stuff that we all grew up watching. A lot of us had older brothers, sisters, cousins, whoever. So we got a lot of their content. We also had our shit, and we got a lot of younger brothers, sisters as well. So we got a lot of their stuff too. So I've got like a nice, you know, window of things that I've seen in my life. But it's like there comes a point beyond that. There's a point where, you know, I stopped watching Nickelodeon or I stopped watching whatever. Like I was too old. I aged out of it. And then the new stuff came in. And it's like, that's y'all generation. Fucking have at it. Cause I know y'all gonna resonate with that and that's gonna make y'all laugh. But for me, it's like, you know, I don't think the stuff's not funny. I always try to just be respectful and appreciative and really see why. Like, okay, why does everybody love this SpongeBob meme or that SpongeBob meme or the Oh Brother or whatever? And like, because that was the nostalgia of your guys' era. Like, I'll stay in my era, y'all stay in yours, and let's all just go out there and cook.
Kumbaya, Randy. Kumbaya.
So as I'm looking, you're near 260,000 followers on Twitter.
Right.
So I mentioned that because do you ever feel like it becomes overwhelming with what you do because people they depending on you for a sporting event, political event to tweet something funny out? And does it ever feel like you can't even go to a barbecue vacation and try to miss out on something because you got to be at your phone every fucking second?
Good question.
I'm gonna be real now. It used to really bother. I'm at peace with it now. Like if I miss something, I miss it, and that just is what it is. I accept that. Naturally, you never want to miss those big ones, right? Like KD demanding a trade or KD's ankle or whatever it is. Like, you know, I think yesterday it was bruh, you know, you fat hoe or whatever his name was. Like, I'm gonna be real. I was watching something else, so I missed that. I forget what. I think I was watching preseason basketball. But the Knicks game, whoever played after the Knicks, like it completely. The Bulls Pelicans. So I'm watching the Bulls Pelicans game and kind of checking in a little bit on the G League Ignite and the Scoot stuff, and Vic just kind of monitoring that on social. But I'm at peace with that stuff now, man. And in terms of the first part of your question, it's been crazy to me. But I remember starting this account when it was at 0 followers, so I kind of always just operate from that wavelength. Now, obviously, like I said, you got more people following you. It's a lot more haters, a lot more people waiting for you to fuck up, slip up, post some shit that they can try to pack you up for. So I got to be mindful of how I move. Also, like when I was younger, I'd be a lot pettier, right? So I'll talk shit about players and get kind of disrespectful, which for me now at this age, like, man, I don't give a fuck if you're the 15th man on the bench, your career is better than mine. Like, so I got to have a ton, like, I'll never say a dude sucks like that. It's always weird to me when somebody, oh, he's trash, he's garbage, he's whatever. Like this person's getting paid money to play basketball. So unless we're doing that, unless we're getting paid at least $1 more than what they're getting, it's not, we can't really be in a position to kind of bash somebody who's doing better than we are, which is another thing you see on social. Like, oh man, this dude is trash. This dude sucks. It's like, he may not be as good as you hoped or you liked, but he's literally one of the top 400 basketball players in the world. So I won't go to that level. And now I get these dudes start following me. Like, I'm a big LeBron fan. Spent a ton of time going to MJ fans, Kobe fans in my younger years, Steph fans as well. But that shit kind of changes when guys like Steph and KD follow you now. Like, oh, I got to be, I'm not trying to be the next person on KD Summer Jam screen. So I'm going to be, because I know he's looking. I know he's always lurking. And it don't have to be anything mean. You could just make any type of commentary. Depending on the mood he's in, he might clap back at you or whatever. So I just try to be as respectful to those guys as possible. Now, if Steph gets dunked on or some shit happens or whatever, we're going to talk about it. We're definitely going to get the jokes out. But I like to say that I'm an equal opportunity clowner, right? LeBron's my favorite player. I'm rolling with the Lakers as a result of that. If the Lakers have a trash-ass year, we're going to get the jokes flying. And I think, especially in the NBA Twitter community, some fan bases get a little too sensitive and feel like they're getting picked on. It's like, no, man, it's the ebbs and flows of the game. Warriors a couple years ago, they were hot dookie. It just is what it is. They didn't make the playoffs for 2 years. We're going to let the jokes fly. Now you win a championship again 2022. Yeah, now it's your turn to return the favor, bring back all that pain and misery and anguish that we caused you, and let your jokes fly. But I don't ever really take this shit personal. For me, I don't take none of it personal till it gets personal, right? Like if you want to clown a take or an opinion or a tweet I put up, more power to you. But now you start talking about personal shit. And it's like, we all come from an era like, back in our time when you did that shit, it was like, all right, well, we can fight if you want to. It's not a, I'm not really big on the talking. All that's there you go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if you really feel some type of way about it, like we can definitely handle and address that shit. Where I feel like kids nowadays, they've grown up on social and they're so used to it that they just say the most wild, reckless, outlandish shit. Thinking that they'll never have to deal with it. And it's like, motherfucker, at some point, you're going to have to see me. So, and I'm going to remember that shit you said about me. I don't care how much nice shit you say after or whatever, or you apologize, like you trying to front show off for social. It's going to be a problem at some point. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I love New York. I love the Knicks. I'm good friends with a lot of people on Knicks Twitter. And I got people on Knicks Twitter who try to come at me too. It is what it is. But it's like, ultimately, we might see each other at Summer League. Like at some point, we're going to cross paths. And really, you need to determine what you want to do when that situation happens. Because I'm gonna remember all the shit. Like I'm, that's one thing I'm gonna stand on. Like I'm a petty ass motherfucker, so I'm gonna remember all the shit, every negative thing I've ever seen. Even if people are cool about it later down the road, I'm still like, 3 years ago though, you said some fuck shit about me, so I've never forgotten that.
Yo, Jay, listen, before Denny goes, you mentioned KD. KD is, and I'll try to make it funnier. KD will probably be the only guy I won't talk shit about because I know he's a king of the clapback and somehow, some way he's going to find out. So I don't care if he gets crossed over and falls and busts his ass. I'll be like, you know what? There was water on the floor. I'll make some shit up because KD.
I ain't afraid of no ghosts, Randy. I ain't afraid of no ghosts. I ain't afraid of no ghosts.
Because you're the Brooklyn Net fan, but KD is the one guy. But you know what? He's the one guy I'll stay away from.
Yeah,
that's just me.
Anybody can get it, Randy. Anybody can get it if there's a valid point. But you listen, you Double J, you mentioned something that you mentioned you're a Lakers fan, right? Mm-hmm. So I have to ask you the million, trillion, quadruple question.
Oh boy,
give it to me.
Do you think Russell Westbrook will still be a Laker by next year's trading deadline?
So let me preface this with I'm a UCLA Bruin. I got a ton of love and respect for Russ and his family. Was disappointed. This is the thing, man. When you look at Laker Nation, and I've been here since LeBron's been here, it's they're a very passionate fan base. Probably one of the biggest fan bases in all the NBA Twitter community, if not the largest. Have a championship pedigree, and they are notorious for bullying players to greatness. Like seen it with Kuz, seen it with KCP, seen it with Danny Green, seen it with LeBron at times, AD. Like anybody can get it. They do not discriminate. So to see how they came at Westbrook, it felt like it got a little too personal last year and a little too much. And I love Russ, but even like the Westbrook name, like LeBron's been called worse shit by Lakers fans. You know what I mean? Like it just is what it is. Like it's a part of the game. But I can understand Russ is an LA guy. He grew up out here. He grew up idolizing Kobe. So for him to finally have that homecoming and not to work out the way, and as much as criticism and knock that Russ got last year, he played solid. Now, I think it was a little too many Shaq in the fool moments. And especially like we see this shit on Twitter all the time, right? I saw it all summer. Somebody locked up James Harden on literally one play One play in a pickup game. Oh, look
Right.
at Harden getting clamped. And like, Rico Hines, who runs the run, was one of my former teammates at UCLA. Earl Watson, one of my former teammates at UCLA, has to come to social like, yo, this is one fucking play. Like, Harden was killing out here today. But that one play, it's that one moment. So Russ hits the side of the backboard or a bad shot or an air ball. That's the clip that's going to keep getting replayed and blown up. But saying all that to say, like, I think at this point, Lakers need to shit or get off the pot. Like, you can't have these trade rumors going on and on and on. We heard the shit all last year up into the trade deadline. Then once, free agency period kicked off again. And, it's detrimental to the squad. I know a lot of that doesn't have to do to them. The media and journalists obviously all have their own agendas and narratives that they're trying to push, depending on what agencies are at and what players they're trying to push and all that other shit. But at some point, like, we've been hearing this Russ to the Pacers trade, heard Russ for Kyrie, heard all these different things. Like, he has to show up to work every day. And to his credit, I think he said it beginning of training camp, some along the lines of like, look, I'm here to work. This is a job for me. And, to his credit, even looking at him at the first preseason game Tuesday against the Kings, came out, played solid, was rocking the baby, smiling, seemed to be in high spirits. But just to know every single day, it feels like a new article drops about, they didn't want to give up the 2 first-round picks or whatever. So I hope whatever the situation is, if Russ stays or not, he can lock in. He's now got a year experience playing with AD and LeBron. They had a limited amount of time together, but got a whole summer now to get right. Lakers have kind of bolstered this squad. So, ultimately, yeah, is it the most ideal squad? Like, do I think they're championship contenders at this point? I'm not going to go that far. Like, I'm not just going to be ludicrous with it. But I think this is a playoff caliber team. I think if they can gel and connect well, they got some good pieces. Darvin Ham coming in from Milwaukee. He's bringing a whole new mindset, attitude. Darvin's great because he's a dude like you just look at, and this is a dude I'm not going to fuck with. Like, whatever it is. Frank Vogel might say some shit and I can get, snarky back or chirp back. But if Darvin says some shit, I'm going to have to, he looked like Debo. I'm going to have to respect him, take the man at his word. But to answer your question, I don't know, man. I think if this is the squad the Lakers got to roll out with, I wouldn't want to see them make a trade. And just to be real, and I love Russ, but I wasn't necessarily a fan of the Russ trade to the Lakers. Now, obviously on social, Lakers Nation, anytime something happens, we're going to blow it up and act like it's the greatest thing to ever happen. But I was rolling with Kuz, KCP, obviously losing Caruso to the Bulls. I thought, I think Bulls fans thought we were joking when we talked about how much love we have for Caruso and the whole GOAT thing and all that shit. Yeah, some of it was jokes, but the reality was he came in, his basketball IQ was high, brought toughness to the squad. So this is the team they rolled out last year. AD only played 40 games, so you got to preface every conversation with that because he's supposed to be that guy now that's leading the charge. Yeah, they didn't make the playoffs. I can't think of many teams who did make the playoffs with what should be their star player. Obviously, LeBron, year 19, you're playing with house money now. Like, LeBron shouldn't be asked to carry a squad during the regular season. He did last year. Obviously, it didn't work out that way. But, yeah, I think if Russ stays on the team, I'm optimistic. I think they can kind of figure it out this year. But if they get a deal done and it's in the best interest of everybody on the squad, then more power to it. But I'm a big Russ guy. I've been rocking with Russ for a long, long time. I think people, if you really know Russ's story, where he came from, how hard he worked to get to where he's at, have some level of respect. Now, if he's not playing up to whatever level you think he needs, you're going to get the jokes off. I'm not going to be the one to stop you. But for me, it shit just got real disrespectful last year. So I'm hoping that at least, and if you got to think as a Lakers fan, right, what image do you want to project to other guys who may want to come to the Lakers down the road, right?
Great point.
Like we're just going to clown and pack your ass up every time you have a bad game, or we're going to stand by you and support you and help get through those moments. But like I said, Lakers fans, they're notorious for bullying the greatness. I've seen it. I've seen KCP get his ass bullied to nearly playing at a Finals MVP level in the bubble. So, it goes on both sides.
Sometimes it takes that. We shall see. I mean, I loved Russell and, I loved Washington Russell. Loved Washington Russell. I just think he needs a home where he can, play with guys who will run with him, and he has, he's able to be Russ. So we'll see. Time will tell. Randy,
it didn't make sense. I mean, Russ is ball dominant, right? Russ is ball dominant. You already know LeBron is ball dominant. It never really made sense. Like, how the fuck? There's only one ball. How are these dudes going when they both need to be running the offense? That's Russ's style. Hopefully this season, depending on whatever gets done or doesn't get done, Russ can kind of embrace that. I know he'll get a lot more run kind of with that second unit where he'll be able to do that when LeBron's off the floor. But they're going to have to figure it out or not make the playoffs again.
Here's a good question too, Randy. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Another question I have is, because we mentioned Russell, we mentioned, ball dominant, et cetera, et cetera. every time I watch these, obviously we got the Dream Team Redeemed doc coming soon, I think on Netflix with Kobe and them. But these guys, Russell, I think Russell was on that team, if I'm not mistaken, on one of those teams, USA teams.
Or 2012.
Teams.
He's on 12,
one of those, 2012, I believe. But he gets around these players, and he's not ball dominant. He's moving the ball. He's getting into spaces. He's doing these things when he's playing with other players on the USA team. I don't know what the difference is, but when you come to the NBA, all of a sudden now I have to be ball dominant.
Well, I think, Russ losing KD and OKC, from that point on, the Thunder became his squad. We saw all the triple doubles, and triple doubles, amazing accomplishment. Obviously, I think Oscar Robertson was the only previous person to average a triple double. Russ has done it 4 times, but just that workload that he was having to take, when you used to watch him in those games, how much shit he had to do. And it's hard when you go from every team you've been on, especially in the past couple of years, where, going from Houston to Washington to the Lakers, now you're playing with other stars and you got to basically, give up what's been the main part of your game. But at the end of the day, players adjust. And I think for him, it should be a beneficial situation. He should be able to create more opportunities, really focus and lock in on the defensive side, focus on the rebounding and assist side. You playing with LeBron, AD. So you got guys out there who can really, carry that workload with you. Didn't work out like that last year, but LeBron and AD and Russ, I want to say, played like 21 games together. I want to say they were like 11-10 in those games. So don't get me wrong. Don't me act like they were just some superstar squad out there. But that's ultimately not really enough, especially how kind of just finicky it was and the different lineups the Lakers were rolling out all season. That's not enough for these guys to become a cohesive unit and gel and do all those type of things. So like I said, again, you hope that, now they've got a summer together, despite all the trade rumors, the bullshit and the talk. Like, these guys are professionals. That's just a part of the game. You hope they can get through and kind of figure it out.
Have you gotten used to crypto.com arena yet? Or are you still down with Staples Center?
And I was a big crypto guy when it first happened, but it always felt like one of those things where, like, it was just some bullshit because everybody who got in early was just trying to sell you this dream of how this was the revolutionary shit. And I'm the type, like, it's like, when you hear about stocks or you get financial advice, like, always be mindful of the people you're getting financial advice from. Like, if you're getting financial advice from people who aren't necessarily rich, like, probably not the person to listen to. Exactly. And there was a lot of, like, wealthy people that were promoting and advocating for it, but they already had a huge stake and a huge vested interest in it. So they were really just trying to build the mystique of it. So it'll always be Staples Center. It's unfortunate, and I'm sure y'all deal with that type of stuff where you got venues that'll change names and hands or whatever. But it's like, it almost feels like, and I don't want to say, but like the crypto curse. Like, soon as it became crypto.com, shit just kind of took a turn for the worse. Hoping we could figure it out, get it together. We'll see how long they actually keep the naming rights. And to be real, like, Staples are kind of, Staples really, the only Staples really in LA anymore was the Staples Center. So it's not like, that business kind of sustained and was like this big deal out here nowadays. But when you go there, that's what it still feels like, even though they got the new signage, all that other shit. It's like, I'm in LA. We got, Fox Hills Mall. It'll always be the Fox Hills Mall to us. It's like the Westfield shopping center town bullshit, whatever. Now it's the Fox Hills Mall. Beverly Center will always be the Beverly Center. Like, Staples will always be Staples.
Exactly. Because for me, Danny would know, I'm a big retro throwback kind of fan. So when I see the Lakers or hear the Lakers, I've never been inside Staples.
Oh, wow.
I've never been inside the Forum. So I've been to the Forum on a visit. I've been to Staples, never been inside. I'm pretty sure you've been inside of both venues. Kind of tell me and Denny and our audience from a retro throwback perspective, like, what kind of vibe aura did you get going to the Forum and the kind of vibe you get from Staples or crypto.com?
So Forum, for context, Forum, heart of Inglewood. Inglewood is the city of champions. Different location, close proximity. It's funny, Staples Center is right near, I think, the Inglewood Cemetery, which is this humongous cemetery right across the street. But the Forum always had just this mystique around it, man. Forum Club, what Dr. Buss was able to do there, just getting celebrities in. And I remember, like, going to, like, playoff games way back in the day, like, I specifically remember, like, Sonics Lakers, like, playoff game. My dad used to work for the Sonics. So, they play the Lakers in the playoffs. We'd get tickets to pull up there. But it was smaller van. I want to say like 14,000, 15,000 seat. So it was super intimate. I mean, you were just everybody was on top of each other. But a cool spot. and just had this, like cool mystique about it. Staples, when it first came in, it was super, super, super state of the art, revolutionary. Now it's a little tough because I think it came out in like 2020 or excuse me, 2000-ish or like late 90s, early 2000s. So now after like 20 plus years, you can just start to see, and they've done some upgrades and some stuff recently. But when it first came out, and it was in a part of downtown that honestly nobody would ever go to, it was literally like the first thing that kind of rose out. Now you go downtown, they got Metro Rail and restaurants and businesses and people. Like back in the day coming up, like you went downtown to get robbed. That was pretty much it. Or to go hit the alley to get some fake Gucci and some fake Rolexes. But you weren't spending a ton of, like, you were going to that game and you were leaving and you were a little nervous leaving that arena always. Beelining straight to the whip, like no sights, no, what I mean? Now they've built up LA Live and got a bunch of cool shit out there. But the form will always be the form, right? Showtime, Magic, Kareem, that whole Laker era. A lot of people are getting kind of a taste of it in winning time just to see how cracking it was. And I was too young to be real to really enjoy that side of it, what I mean? But from a distance, like being at those games and just seeing all the celebrities. And Staples, Staples will always be Staples to me. It's a great venue. I know, New Yorkers, y'all love Madison Square Garden. I've never been to Barclays, but that shit looks phenomenal as well. In my experience, like I got to play in Madison Square Garden when I was at UCLA. And it's a nice venue, but I think it's kind of New York in general, man. Everything is on top of each other, right? There's no, this shit is just on, it's just stacked up. It's a small island. Like everything is just built up high as shit.
Yeah, exactly.
LA, like y'all take transit, like, every time I push out to New York, I still can't wrap my head around like subways. And it's like, I'm so used to, like, it's funny shit though. But like y'all might have something that's like 6, 7, 8 blocks away, right? Like under no circumstances living in LA where we walk to that shit. We were driving, I don't care, 7 blocks away. Yeah. We're pushing the whip to that spot. Like we don't look at transit like that, right? So to come out there, but I appreciate that venue for what it is. Appreciate Staples obviously as well. But you got to, you definitely, when you get out here, you got to step inside. Like the outside is great, the exterior is cool, but being at a Laker game, it's crazy. Like the difference between Clippers games and Lakers games, right? Same team, let's say Warriors coming to town, right? Clippers tickets might be like $50 for like the worst nosebleed. That same game for the Lakers is going to be $500. It's like just the disparity. But when you're at a Lakers game, you really feel like you're at a Lakers game. The lighting, the mood, the ambiance. Yeah, I mean that's just how it goes. Just the price. So it's kind of like the running joke out here. Like, if you want to come see like Knicks come to town, you better off going to the Clippers Knicks game because you're gonna actually get a reasonable price. You fuck around and get a suite for like $50. Like I've seen LeBron when he was with the Cavs come and play the Clippers, got a suite ticket, like driving up on StubHub for like $30. Like, you know what I mean? Like versus that same ticket for a Laker game, like 500 easy.
Wow. Denny, that's crazy.
Listen, he dropped some jewels today. Once again, I just want to thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule, whether it's family, whether it's work, etc., to speak to us today. You dropped some gems that we and everybody else is watching will definitely run with when it comes to social media and how you attack it. When it comes to this NBA season, what has you most intrigued before we let you go?
For me, is I don't know how you can look at this Warrior squad, adding James Wiseman, moves they made this offseason. Yeah, they lost a couple guys. But with this core of Steph, Clay, Draymond, Andrew Wiggins, and tell me that the Boston Celtics, and the Celtics added Brogdon. This is even pre-Udoka getting suspended. After beating the Celtics in the championship, how anybody could say that the Celtics, how sportsbooks, whatever, could say that the Celtics are the contenders or, are to win the championship and the Warriors aren't front runners in that spot. I'm super excited, man. Honestly, just across the league, guys healthy, sad to see Chet get hurt and not to be able to experience his rookie year, but happy to see guys like Ben Simmons back, happy to see Anthony Davis back, happy to see Jamal Murray back, happy to see Middleton back, but just Kawhi and Paul George. It's going to be a crazy ass season, man. This might be, I tweeted the shit the other day, this might be the most ridiculous, NBA Twitter season ever, but I think that's going to be a reflection of just how crazy this season is going to be. You got the Nuggets now who got the reigning MVP, right? We're like 6, 7 seed last year, but getting some of their dogs back. Like every team, Clippers again, getting Kawhi back after his long layoff. Clay coming back last year, now having a summer to get his shit right. It's going to be like, there's not, if you look at the schedule, and obviously everybody's trying to tank, so, who not going to make the playoffs for that number one pick, but amongst the top like 10 to 12 teams, man, it's going to be a dogfight. every single night you're getting something. Even squads like the Pistons, who may not make the playoffs, but I'm just super excited to see that team in action. Right there, everybody talks about their league pass teams. It's like league pass is going to be turned up. Like literally found myself watching a Pelicans Bulls game just to be able to see Zion, DeMar, all these type of games that traditionally I wouldn't give a shit about. That I'm locked in, watching the Knicks take on the Pistons and seeing that squad. And just, for me, like when the Knicks and the Lakers are both good, I think the league is in a much better place. Fan engagement's at a much higher level. And we're not just, miserable, burnt out, by halfway through the season trying to
tell them, Jay. Tell them. When the Knicks are good, tell them.
That pain though, because and Lakers fans will clown Knicks fans will clown. But that fucking pain when it's like 30 games left and it does not matter. Like season's already done, Cancun is already on the horizon. So just for me, I always love the start of the season anyway. Just people are like, why are you watching preseason games? Like, why not? Like, shit, I get to see these dudes actually playing again. This is like 2 notches above summer league in my mind, and seeing these young guys, names that are going to start to be big in the league. But just excited for good basketball. Hope the Lakers can make the playoffs ultimately, and hope they don't get smacked by the Warriors. Like if those things don't happen.
Real quick, you mentioned preseason. Do you think it was a big deal that the Phoenix Suns got cracked by 33 the other day? Now, let me preface this now, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Let me preface this now. Now, there's a deal for me. There's a deal, and there's a big deal. Do I think it was a big deal? No. Was it a deal? Yes. What say you?
So it's one thing, right? If the Adelaide 36ers, right, were like a top level team in the NBL, like they were like 10 and 18 last year or some shit like that. So it was basically like you're getting a lottery team from the Australian New Zealand League, the NBL, and they're coming in, and it's like the Suns have not gotten over that hangover. Obviously, the Sarver situation. But you look past all that shit. Like, most of the time you're not really tripping on owner anyway, right? If it's a coach, Celtics losing to Doka is a much bigger deal than Suns losing Sarver, obviously. But after getting smacked in Game 7 by Luka, embarrassed, humiliated on their home floor, to now the same shit happening the very next time you play a quote-unquote competitive basketball game, that shit is wild. And that's why I said, like, Twitter is going to be wild this year. It's stuff that you would never imagine. I want to say it's like the 4th or 5th time that a team has lost
ever.
Like that, but it's like I can't remember the last time
2016
shit like that happened, and it's wild to see. So I think it's definitely something to be concerned about. Obviously, they'll figure it out. But I think if you look at that Suns team coming into this year, DeAndre Ayton, I feels some type of way that he didn't get to go to the Pacers and that the Suns matched that offer. To hear shit like he ain't talked to Monty Williams since Game 7.
Crazy.
That's concerning for me if I'm a Suns fan. Like, not even like a what's up, like a hey, what's up
Monty
text.
said he ain't talked to him. Monty said he ain't talked to him.
I was like, hey, make sure you're working hard. Like, can't wait to get back in the gym. Just nothing. Like, hey, after they re-signed and matched the offer, like, man, so excited to have you back. And you can see, like, with Westbrook, with Aiden, with some of these dudes, how salty they are, right? Like, you can, like, they're not holding back anything. So, I'm not gonna say it's a huge deal right now, but we'll know about 10 games into the season how it's looking.
I got 2 more before I let you go. So, if Jeannie Buss or Rob Pelinka called you and said, Josiah, do me a favor, I need you to get LeBron and Kareem in the same room and kind of hash out whatever the fuck is going on between those 2 guys, would you do it, and how would you get them to get on the same page? What the fuck is going on with LeBron and Kareem?
It's wild. I mean, look, again, I'm a UCLA guy. I love Kareem. I love LeBron. To hear LeBron's comments after the Kings game, no relationship, no comment, no relationship.
Right.
Like, damn, it's some salty shit. But you never want to see that with legends, especially people like Kareem who have so much to offer.
True.
And I think, especially thinking about Bill Russell, everything he meant to the game, you don't ever want to be in a position, right? Kareem's obviously getting up there in years, man, where, you have regrets, obviously losing Kobe as well. Like, you have regrets or things like that. So I don't know. I'll probably have to lie to one of them to get them both in the same room at the same time. Like, oh, bro, we're about to get this trade deal. We're about to get this trade done. We just need you to come here and review the paper. And he opens the door. Kareem sitting in there, ready to embrace him. But I think, when you look at Kareem has a lot of strong opinion. It's funny, man. Kareem dropped that article about Kyrie, and this is completely off tangent, but everybody started talking about, but what about when you punch Kent Benson in the dome? And it's like
totally different conversation, bro.
So my dad played in the league, Marcus Johnson, and funnily enough, he was that was his first NBA game too. So Kent Benson was the first overall pick in 1977 by the Bucks. My dad was the third overall pick by the Bucks that year. So that was both of their first games. Kareem, a UCLA guy, my dad, a UCLA guy. I think my dad was guarding Jamal Wilkes, who's a UCLA guy as well.
Mm-hmm.
And my dad always tells us the story like Kareem punched him, and Kareem's like standing over him, like, get up. And my dad walks over to him like, Cap, he's not getting up. Like, he died. Like, he's not getting up. But that's a much different. It's like, well, Kareem did that. It's like, watch the video, Kent Benson, and like, imagine you Kareem, right? You played in Milwaukee, won a championship out there. You back in your old stomping grounds. You got all your former homies, whoever at the game, and this dude gonna elbow you. This rookie gonna elbow you in the gut after you just won the MVP last year,
multiple times.
That's grounds to get bing. And he could have got 2 piece. Like Kareem only gave him a 1 piece, well within reason. But, you know, just to say, like, I think they get mad at Kareem's messaging a lot, but Kareem is a very smart, intelligent, educated dude. I think if you look at Kareem's career and everything he had to deal with, especially after converting to Islam, you know, house getting burnt down, all that other type of shit.
I was gonna say you watch the LA Lakers documentary, I believe on Hulu. If you watch that, it'll give you a better understanding of what Kareem actually went through during his playing time. So it'll give you a better understanding for sure. Sorry.
And the only person, you know, MJ turned into MJ in the league, right? He obviously did in North Carolina, hitting the shot in the national championship game. But Kareem was this larger than life figure since high school, right? Power Memorial. LeBron, they have a lot of the same, you know, they share a lot of the same similarities. Yeah, their career trajectories. So it seems like if guys could relate to each other, it'd be these two dudes. Like hearing the stories of Kareem, like my dad played with John Wooden at UCLA. We interviewed John Wooden, just hearing the stories that Kareem had to deal with when he would show up places. And that's why he's so introverted and why he don't really fuck with people and he kind of keeps to himself. So imagine being 7'5" and everywhere you go, you're getting called a big black freak and look at this and look at that. I mean, it was just like, and it really kind of opened my eyes because, like, you know, people are, you know, you go to Lakers games back in the day when Kareem was like special assistant coach. He used to sit in like the 100 level, but like the upper level when you kind of walk into the game. But everybody would try to talk to him and shit, and he would just like shoo him away or whatever. So from the outside looking in, you think, oh man, this dude's an asshole. Like, right. But then you get to know that he's been dealing with this shit for like 50, 60 plus years of just getting treated like a freak show. But that's all just to say that, you know, LeBron and Kareem, I hope they can squash their differences. They're both on the Lakers now, both Lakers legends. Like, you know what I mean? So hopefully they can figure that out. But seeing Bron be kind of, I won't say petty with it, but that like, I don't fuck with this dude. I don't have no relationship with this dude on any level. Definitely concerning.
And my last point, cause it's kind of like A and B. I think this could be some pettiness, some saltiness that Kareem see LeBron gonna break his scoring record. Again, that might be so minute, but it's like that has to be in the background. Like I had this record for what 30 years, and guy who's gonna break it is on the Lakers right now, and they don't get along. But I know you mentioned LeBron's your favorite player of all time, correct?
Yep.
And he's you say he's the GOAT of all time, right?
Yeah. But here's the thing. As I've gotten older, I'm 40 years old now. I have a lot more unique perspective. Whatever. If Kobe's your GOAT, more power to you. If MJ's your GOAT, more power to you. If Steph's your GOAT. For me, my all-encompassing GOAT is Kareem. LeBron is my GOAT. You know, Kareem's like GOAT emeritus, and LeBron is my GOAT now. LeBron still has some career left to be played. But I think you talk about the most dominant player in NBA history, like, and just looking at Kareem, what he was able to do with that sky hook. And for anybody who's actually really hooped, like, go try and make a sky hook consistently. You know what I mean? Like, he's hitting 20-foot sky hooks. You know what I'm saying? Like with the super, like, you know, super fuck.
The super arch.
So, you know, you can say, oh, he's tall, he's this or whatever, but the level of skill you have to do to be able to master and perfect that shot. This is not a shot that we like. Who else makes sky hooks in the NBA? Like who in the NBA nowadays is known for their sky hook? Like, this is not a shot that you just easily perfect. So it takes a high level of skill, regardless of size or whatever, and literally one of the most unstoppable shots in the history of the NBA. But I think, man, if they could learn something even from, like, I look at Aaron Judge and what he's been doing with the Yankees and the Maris family and how encouraging and supportive they were of that transition. Understanding, right, this record was great, but if somebody's going to break this record, it's really great to see somebody on the same team doing it. So LeBron's going to pass Magic this year in assists. I think Magic will obviously be super supportive. Hopefully that moment when he passes Kareem, like, it'll make me, you know, I remember several years ago, we got Spectrum Sportsnet out here that runs all the Lakers game, but they would always show this clip of Kobe and Kareem before a game. Kareem sitting like courtside, and him and Kobe like dap up, and they kind of get in each other's faces, and like you could tell Kareem's trying to like pump him up, and Kobe's really taking that and embracing that to go out there. So I hope to see a similar moment with Kareem and LeBron this year. Right. I think it'll be great for the game if they can bury the hatchet, and really, it'll just be great for the city as well.
And it's probably too late, but we got to get LeBron a better go-to move, man. All that staring down 3-point line like this and then stepping back and doing this.
Listen,
that's not it. That's not it.
Listen.
That's not it.
Listen, Randy. The fact that he's still able to do that and no one is jumping it tells you all you need to know.
Like, bro,
he's fuck you
3-point line like this, and then like
he's telling you it's coming. And you don't jump his right hand. It's lovely.
Everybody on Twitter says this got to be the weakest go-to move. And it is comical to see the shit in action and to see people still falling for it. Like, what is he even looking at? Like, what is he looking at? Like, you guys understand basketball. What is he looking at that's throwing you off from thinking he's not about to shoot the shit? It's not like he's looking at a teammate. Not like he's looking somewhere on the court that is a benefit. It's like he's literally looking off to the side, like he's just gonna trick your ass. Like, it's wild to me.
Exactly. Josiah, we can't thank you enough, man. King Josiah 54 on IG and Twitter. Follow him if you don't already. Follow Denny Blanco at Sir Denny Blanco on both IG and Twitter. Myself, Randy J. Cruz, RENDY, the letter J CRUZ on both IG and Twitter. Find the podcast on SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, ballislife.com, and also on youtube.com/ballislife podcast network. For myself, Josiah Denny Blanco, we out.
Ball is life.
Yes, sir.